there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's video, I'll show you how you can easily record audio over your video on the next flight you take with your DJI drone. Now, we've been working on this for quite a while. We actually had a solution come out for the original smart controller years ago, and it works really well. But we've had some challenges with the brand new DJI RC Pro, and especially the DJI RC, because a lot of the audio capabilities of these controllers is really governed by the type of Android system they're using and what drivers they've installed in that Android system. And we all know that these are based on Android, but DJI puts a specialized version of Android on the controllers, and they can control a lot of things of what happens with those external connections. So we've been working on this for a couple of months actually to get this DJI RC able to record audio, and we finally figured it out. But we took it a step further because originally we offered an adapter that would plug into the USB-C port, and then you could use any standard TRS microphone you had. We had a lot of people had trouble trying to find a TRS microphone that would work well for them. A lot of them bought TRRS microphones, which didn't work because they're stereo microphones. So we actually offered that with a microphone as well, and that took care of most of your needs. But we thought there's got to be other ways that we can improve upon that audio quality. So I've got 3 solutions today that I'll show you that work well with all these units. Now, just to get started, for simplicity purposes, I've got the original smart controller here. I'll call it the Gen 1. I've got the RC Pro here, which I'll call the Gen 2. And I finally got the DJI RC over here, which I'll call Gen 3. And this is the one that was just released with the brand new DJI Mini 3 drone. And it's a great controller. I love it a lot. But that guy's been a rascal trying to get this problem sorted out. I'll be honest with you, we've been tearing our hair out because it seems like every time DJI releases a new firmware version for this unit, it somehow interferes with the audio recording capabilities. So we were actually ready to release these products about a month and a half ago, but DJI broke the audio recording capabilities with one of the microcode updates they did, and then they finally fixed it with a later one. So the last 3 versions of microcode work perfectly fine with this solution. So there's a different way you record audio depending on which smart controller you're using. In the original smart controller, you were basically running a program called DJI Go 4, which was the original program used with all the Mavic Pro products, the Phantom products, and that's what's running here. These two run the DJI Fly application. So the way you record audio here is different than the way you record audio here, and I'll show you how to do both of those in a minute. But with this one, you're basically going to turn on the caching functionality of both the video and the audio in the software. So there's a setting in there, and I'll show you that in a minute. But when you turn that on, what happens is your screen recording what's happening with the drone. So the feed that comes back from the drone is being recorded internally or to the SD card, which is my recommendation. And if you turn on that feature to record audio, it's going to record the video and the audio on top of it. So you'll get both in one file over here. With these two, there is no such function built into the software yet. Now, they may include that down the road, but for now, you can screen capture both of these, and I'll show you how to do that. And when you screen capture it, the audio is recorded. So you'll capture video and audio. Now, the audio quality varies depending on which version of the smart controller you're using. Back here, it was a 720p. Here it's a 1080p, here it's a 1080p. So better quality here, not such great quality over here. And that's only important if you want to take the raw file off the SD card with the video that's streamed back from the drone and the audio combined and post that to social media. Quite honestly, the screen recording here is good enough to put up on your YouTube channel and certainly good enough to send to friends. The 720 may not be that great, but the good news is, since you have that file, you can easily merge that file with the higher resolution video from the drone, put those together in your editing software, get rid of the video that's part of that screen recording, and just add the audio to the video that you've got from the drone, and you'll have crystal clear video with wonderfully great audio. So that's how that works. Now let me explain what we've got as far as the solution here, because I got a lot of gear on the table. So the original solution we came out with was an adapter. Now this is a specialized adapter. I know it looks a lot like a lot of adapters on the market, but I can tell you we went through about 35 of these adapters, maybe 40 of them. A lot of them didn't work. And the challenge is, when you're talking to these smart controllers, even though it's a USB-C connection, the adapter has to be able to accommodate the version of Android that's running on the smart controller, and more specifically, the driver they're using. So we ended up throwing out, I'm going to say we threw out 30 of them until we found a couple that worked. I settled on this one because it's been rock solid on the smart controller, the 2nd generation and the 3rd generation, and we're offering this as just the adapter. Now, if you have a really good lapel mic, that's a TRS mic, which means it's got a tip, ring, and shield, only 3 connections on the front, this will work perfectly fine for you. A lot of people had a hard time finding a good quality microphone, so we're offering this on its own. we're also offering it with a really nice lapel microphone that's a TRS. If you get the adapter, you can also get it with the microphone. You basically plug that into the microphone setting here, clip this on your lapel, and you're good to go. You'll plug it in, it'll work great. Now, one advantage of the adapter is it's got a slight amplification to it. So when you plug this into the USB-C port, it draws a little bit of current, and it's got an amplifier built in here to give you a little higher quality audio. Now, depending on the TRS microphone you're using, that can determine how crystal clear that audio is. So if you have a really good one, it's going to sound fantastic. Ours is a really good one as well. So if you buy the kit, you're going to be in really good shape here. But then we thought, can we eliminate that adapter right there, the audio adapter, and just have a TRS mic that plugs into the USB-C directly? And that's exactly what this option is. Now, again, this was a challenge because there are a lot of microphones out there that are USB-C on the other end, but they don't work with the smart controllers. They'll work fine if you're plugging them into a phone or some other functional product that uses a USB-C for microphone. But there's something funky about the driver they're using on the smart controllers, where about 6 of those we brought in, we tested, and they didn't work. And we finally found one that works really well. Now, the difference between this and that is the quality in this is a little bit better, but it's not quite as loud. So the amplifier in here makes that audio a little bit louder than this one would be, but this is a lot easier because you basically plug this into the USB-C port, clip this to your lapel, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about having the adapter. And again, the advantage here is you can use your own high quality microphone if you want, and you can find lapel microphones that are $150 that have phenomenal quality. This one is really good, and it's a lot simpler. So a lot of folks like the simplicity of plugging this into the USB-C port, clipping this on your lapel, and running from there. And then we thought, can't we come up with a wireless solution? Wouldn't that be cool? And that's exactly what I have over here. Now, this is a Drone Valley product, and this one took us about 4 months to develop. We had to work with a bunch of different manufacturers to find exactly the right receiver that worked with the drivers inside the smart controllers. What's really cool about this one is it comes in a case with a cab magnetic catch on the top, and it's a charging case. So it basically charges through USB-C, and when you drop the receiver, that's the receiver that plugs into your USB-C port on the smart controller, but the transmitter actually has 3 little pads on the bottom, and when you drop it back in the charging case, it magnetically attaches and it starts charging. So you'll get a couple of hours of use out of this. When you're done for the day, drop it back in the case and it'll recharge 4 or 5 times. So it gives you a nice little carrying case, and it gives you a way to protect them and to recharge the microphone when you're using it. And the advantage to this one is really the audio quality is the best of all of these. It's also a little louder than the other two. And I think the convenience of not having a cord hanging between your shirt and the controller is a big advantage, because when you're flying, you get excited, and if there's a cord hanging between the two, you may snag it and pull the mic off, and then it ruins the audio you're trying to record. So with this one, it couldn't be simpler. It's basically a receiver that plugs into the smart controller and a lapel microphone that clips on here like this. And this plugs into the bottom of the smart controller, just like you would. You'll pull that on the host port on this one. Plug it into the bottom of the smart controller, and then you're flying your drone, and there's no cord between the two, so it makes it a little bit easier. The other cool thing about this is it's a standard, well, that thing went flying. It went somewhere, I don't know where it went, but anyway, the cool thing about this one is it's a USB-C connection, so it'll work with your phone, it'll work with other devices that can accept the microphone input through USB-C. So it's more than just a smart controller microphone. Now, if you stay tuned next, what I'll do is show you how you instigate screen recording here and how you can instigate screen recording on these, so you can see the differences between them. And then I'll come back and point out a few things about these products that I think will help you make the decision on which one works for you. But I have to tell you, being able to record audio when I'm flying my drone is a wonderful thing, because I can actually fly an area, describe what I'm doing, comment on the scenery, talk about what I'm doing with the drone and how well it's behaving, and that whole file is put together. So I can come home, I can edit a little bit, tiny little bit, put it up on social media, and I'm off and running, and it's ready to go. There's no secondary recorder like my phone or some other, second recorder that I've got to match up the audio with. It's a real nice thing to be able to record audio with your video. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll show you how this one works to record the audio, then I'll show you how this one works, and I'll probably come back and mention a few other things. So stay tuned for the demonstration. With the original DJI Smart Controller, it's a little bit more complicated in the way you actually start a screen recording, because the product can support both versions of the software that DJI has produced to fly your drone. So on the controller, you'll find the original DJI Go 4 application that was used with the older drones like the Phantom all the way up through the Mavic 2, as well as the DJI Fly application that's used with all the newer drones going forward. And I like the fact that a single controller is running both versions of software, because it allows me to bridge that technology gap between my older drones and my newer drones with a single controller. Unfortunately, the way you start the screen recording and where those files are stored is different between those two programs, and I'll show you how to do both of them. But I'll start with the DJI Fly application because right now I've got this connected to an Air 2S. So again, it's important to understand what drone you're using currently and the way you start that screen recording. But in my case, it's an Air 2S. I'll tap the DJI Fly application and I'll go fly. Now that's a view from my camera. And once I put the drone up in the air, if I want to screen record that, there are two ways to start that screen recording. The first way, which is really easy, is to use a shortcut. You'll hold down on the back button while tapping the record button, just like this. And you can see I've started a screen recording. And then I can fly, and it'll record the video feed from the camera, as well as whatever audio I've got coming through the microphone that's plugged in. If I want to stop that recording, I'll do the same thing, hold down the back button, tap record, and I'm done. Now that file combines, again, both the feed, the video feed from the drone, as well as the audio into a single file, and it stores it either in the internal memory on here or an external SD card, depending on how you have it configured. But in both cases, it's in the same folder, which is called Movies. And to access that folder, you can connect the smart controller up to your computer using a USB-C cable, find the movie folder, and do what you'd like with those files. The other advantage of the original smart controller is that it has both a speaker in it as well as a screen, so you can review the files right here to make sure you have the audio component you need. And to do that, you'll back out of the application by tapping that button twice. You'll hit this button to get to the main menu. Then you'll see a Files icon right there. If you tap that, it takes you to the main Files access. And in this case, I'm on an SD card, so I'll tap that. Then I'll scroll up to the movie folder right there, and I'll tap that. And that'll take me into my movie folder, and there are my screens by tapping that. Now any of these, I can just tap on them and I can review them here. Now one thing I will warn you about, the original smart controller for some reason does not have great audio. I don't know what the difference is. The newer controllers have really good audio, but with this one, even using an external microphone, the audio tends to be a little bit lower than the other two controllers. So just be aware of that. When you go into your editing software, you'll have to crank up the audio a little bit, but that's how you access those folders. Now, if you stay tuned next, I'll walk you through how you can use the other application with the Mavic 2. Now I'll show you how you can start a screen recording if you're flying an older drone like a Phantom series or a Mavic 2. And right now I've got a Mavic 2 Pro connected to the controller that uses the DJI Go 4 application. So I'll start the app, it'll come up, I'll go fly, it'll connect to the drone. Now I'm viewing my camera right here, and what's interesting about the way you obtain a screen recording using the older application is you're not actually doing a screen recording through the Android operating system, because even though you can instigate a screen recording like I showed you before by tapping these two buttons, it's not going to record the audio. I don't know why that is, but for some reason it doesn't record audio. So with the older DJI Go 4 app, you'll basically go into the settings by tapping these three buttons up here. That'll bring up the main menu. You're going to want to tap the three buttons at the bottom, which gives you two options: cache locally while recording and record audio from video cache. You want to make sure both of those are turned on. That'll turn on the video recording, and that turns on the audio recording, and that way you'll get both in the file. Now once those are on, the minute you start recording while you're flying, the video and the audio is being cached to the smart controller, again, either to the internal storage or the SD card, which is my suggestion, and those files are ready to review the minute you stop recording. So it's kind of nice that it's automatic. You don't have to actually turn it on. Now the interesting thing is, if you use that other method to turn it on like I'd mentioned a minute ago, you'll actually get a file, but there won't be any audio component. So it's really important that you look for these files in a different location. Once you're finished, you can connect this up to your computer through the USB cable here, and the folder you're looking for is under Storage, and then either external or internal _SD, DJI in all caps, DJI.go.v4, DJI record, and then the file name. And I know they bury that kind of in the submenus there, but it's pretty easy to find, and I'll put a graphic up to show you that, but that's where the file will be. Now again, another interesting point is if you use the Fly application to screen record, the audio is not that great, but if you're using the DJI Go 4 application where it's natively recording it, the audio is perfect. So just understand there's a difference between the two, but that's how you'll record using the DJI Go 4 application with your older drones. With the DJI RC Pro controller, there are actually two different ways you can start a screen recording. You can use a shortcut by holding down on the back button while simultaneously tapping the record button like this, and you can see I've started the recording, and you can stop the recording the same way. There's also a similar shortcut for taking a screen capture by holding down on the back button and tapping the photo button like this, and there's your screen capture. Now the second method for starting the screen recording is a little bit more complicated, and it's done through the Android operating system. And to use that method, you'll pull down slightly at the top of the screen and a bar will appear. You'll drag that bar to the bottom to reveal a submenu. Pull down again. there's the submenu. Now this is important because it gives you a lot of really good information about what's going on right now with the smart controller. There are notifications here, silent notifications, you can adjust the brightness and volume, and you have a series of buttons over here that allow you to do certain things with the controller. You can turn the Bluetooth on and off, you can take a screenshot, mobile data on and off, put it in airplane mode, but this button right here says record screen. If you tap that, it'll start the screen recording. And honestly, I hardly ever use that method because this is so much quicker using the shortcut, but I wanted to show you that menu. Now once the recording is finished, it actually combines the video feed from the drone with the audio you've recorded from the microphone you have plugged in and stores that as a single file either to the internal storage or the external SD card depending on how you have it configured, and it stores that file in the movies folder. And you can access that folder by connecting your smart controller up to your computer, and then you'll find the folder and you can move the files out and use them as you need to, or you can actually review them on the smart controller by using the back button to back out of the application. So it'll take you back to the app, tap it twice, it'll take you back to the main menu. Then you'll see an icon labeled Files. If you tap that, you'll find the movie folder right there. If you tap Movies, all of your screen captures are in that folder. So you can actually review these right on the smart controller to make sure that you've got the video you need. Unfortunately, the smart controller doesn't have a speaker in it, so you can't actually listen to the files on the RC Pro. The actual original smart controller had a speaker in it where you could hear the files audio as well as watch the video. But that's how you'll get to the screen recording function on the DJI RC Pro. To start the screen recording on the DJI RC, on the main menu, slightly pull down at the top, you'll see a bar appear. Pull all the way down, that'll reveal a menu underneath with a lot of different options. One of those options is labeled Record Screen. If you tap that, it'll bring you back to the main menu. You'll hear that noise, and you'll see the counter start to count up down here, and that means you're recording the screen currently. So anything that's streamed back from the drone when you're flying will be recorded along with the audio for whatever mic you have plugged into the host port. Now once you're done, you can hit the stop button right there. That'll stop the screen recording, and it actually moves that file into the SD card into the movies directory. And to access that, you can either connect up a USB-C cable here and access it like an external drive on your computer, or you can actually pop the SD card out, pop it into your computer, go to the movies folder, and you'll find all your screen recordings in there. I hope those explanations were helpful, and I really like the way the original smart controller recorded audio and video because you would essentially go into the DJI Go 4 application, you would toggle on local video caching and local audio caching, and you'd record every flight that you took, and that was done through the application itself. With the Gen 2 and the Gen 3, the DJI Fly application doesn't have that capability, so you're essentially screen capturing the feedback from the drone and adding audio to it using the Android operating system. So it's an extra step, but the advantage is lower resolution over here, higher resolution over here, because remember, what you're recording is the feedback from the drone, and this was based on an older version of OcuSync that couldn't provide the 1080p resolution. So over here, you're gonna get really nice video back. Now, what I'm gonna do next is, I've got some samples of what the audio sounds like with the original adapter, also with the USB-C microphone and with the wireless microphone, and I'll play those for you next so you can compare the three against each other to decide which of the solutions is right for you. And then I'll come back at the end and talk a little bit more about what we're doing with this product and how we're offering it, because we've spent a lot of time on it and I'm really proud of the results and I think you're gonna love it. So stay tuned for the audio test next, and then I'll come back at the end with a few final comments. Okay, this first test I'm using the audio adapter and a standard TRS microphone just to show you what the audio quality sounds like, and I've got the lapel mic clipped to my shirt. And now I'll switch over to the next microphone. I'll use the USB-C next. Okay, now I have the USB-C microphone plugged in just to give you a comparison between that and the TRS mic. I think they're going to sound pretty much the same. And next I'll plug in the wireless microphone. Now I have the wireless microphone connected. And what I like so much about this one is I don't have to worry about the wire hanging down and getting snagged on something. I can hold the controller wherever I need to, and there's no issue with worrying about that wire. It's also noise canceling, which should make it a little bit quieter out here, especially on windy days. I hope those samples were helpful, and just like I'd mentioned, the original adapter had a little bit higher volume than the other two solutions, and that's because the external adapter has a tiny amplifier built into it that boosts the gain of any TRS microphone you plug into the adapter. It does draw a little bit of current through the USB-C port on your smart controller, but it's such a small amount of current that you're not even going to notice it, and I thought it sounded really good with the microphone we include with the kit. Now the advantage here is you can get just the adapter. If you've got a great TRS microphone, just plug it in there, you're ready to go. If you need a microphone, we found a really nice TRS microphone that we include as an option for the kit. The USB-C version is a totally passive microphone. It doesn't draw any current from your smart controller, and as a result, the volume is a little bit lower, but I think the quality was a little bit higher. Both of these microphones come with windsocks on them that are removable. Now, I leave this on there all the time because I'm outside flying my drone, because that's where we fly our drones, and there's always wind around, so I leave the sock on, but you can pop it off if you want to. The advantage here is there's no adapter. It plugs right into the smart controller, so I wanted to give you a couple options there. The third option, I think, is the best sounding of all, and that's the wireless version, and there's several advantages over there. Number one, there's no wire to contend with. I like that a lot, so I plug the receiver into the smart controller, I put the transmitter on my shirt, and I can start talking and not worried about a wire dangling where I'm going to get caught on something. But beyond the convenience, the fact that this unit has noise canceling capabilities means if I'm talking and there's a lot of noise around me, I was out in the field the other day with tractors going and all kinds of other things, you didn't hear that in the background. You just heard me talking. So it's crystal clear and it's got noise canceling capabilities. I also love the fact that the case can recharge. That was something we focused an awful lot on because I didn't want to just get a microphone that you could charge at home, go out in the field, and after 4 hours have to recharge it again. So with the case that recharges the microphones, you can charge it in the case, the mic will get charged, the case will get charged, and when you're out in the field, if you need to recharge it, drop it back in the case and you're good to go. Now the last thing I'll say is when you look at these, they look similar to a lot of microphones you see on the market, and I can tell you through our experience in testing, not everything out there that looks like this works like this, and it's really a weird thing with the Android operating system where certain mics work, certain don't. If you read through the fine print of a lot of the products that are out there, it'll say it works with Windows, it works with whatever. Working on Android is a bit of a tricky project, so we spent a lot of time researching the passive one, the active one with the external adapter, and certainly this wireless one. This was about a 5-month project for us to get this together, to get the price right, to get one with noise canceling and a chargeable case, and all the rest of the things that we had to do with this product. So we're incredibly proud of all three of these, and they all work really well. So if you're looking for a solution, Drone Valley is a place that you can trust. We're going to be here if you have questions later on or any problems with the products we offer. They're all available on our website today. We're putting them up on Amazon as well, but that'll take us about a week to get them up there. But I have plenty in stock, so if you're interested in any of these, there are links below where you can go to the website, order them, we'll ship them out the same day to you, and I'll probably get them to you faster than Amazon will. So anyway, that was it for today. If you have any questions about what I did with the smart controllers or how to record the audio, drop me a comment below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. We've been super busy this summer, and I have to apologize. We haven't put in as many videos up as we normally do, but we've been out testing a lot of stuff, and I can't tell you about most of it, but stay tuned to the channel because there's some incredibly cool stuff coming that you're really going to be interested in. So forgive me for not posting a lot of videos. Just trust that I'm out working on projects like this and testing a lot of really cool gear, and I'll have a bunch of clips coming up soon. Anyway, that's it for me today. I really appreciate you viewing the channel, and I can't tell you how happy we are with the subscriber growth and the comments we're getting and all the positive feedback about the channel. I just love doing these kind of reviews and working on projects like this. So if you guys are still enjoying these clips and you're getting value out of them, we'll keep putting them up. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy flying.